The crisp autumn breeze rustled the fallen leaves as I stepped out onto the porch, coffee mug in hand. It was a perfect Saturday morning in our quiet little neighborhood. Sipping the rich brew, I breathed in the earthy scent and felt grateful for the simple pleasures in life. "Morning, honey," Emily called out, emerging from the house with a bright smile. Even in her ratty old pajamas, she was breathtakingly beautiful. I pulled her close, planting a kiss on her forehead. "Sleep well?" She nodded against my chest, like a log. "You?" "Can't complain." I squeezed her tighter, never wanting this moment to end. A rumbling sound made us both turn. A moving truck was pulling up to the house next door, the one that had been vacant for months. I frowned as a man hopped out, shielding his eyes from the sun with one hand. Emily nudged me. "Looks like we've got a new neighbor." The man caught my eye and offered a curt nod before resuming the unloading process. There was something evasive about his demeanor that instantly put me on edge. Over the next few weeks, I kept a watchful eye on the new neighbor. Alex, as I later learned his name was, seemed to come and go at all hours of the day and night. Whenever I tried striking up a conversation, he was cagey about his occupation, brushing me off with vague replies. Work became increasingly hectic, leaving me with little time to dwell on the oddities next door. Days blurred together in a cycle of client meetings, spreadsheets, and endless emails. Emily was alone more often than not, something that nagged at the back of my mind. One afternoon, I clocked out early, my brain fried from financial reports. Maybe I'd surprise Emily with takeout and a bottle of wine. As I pulled into the driveway, though, my blood went cold. There was Alex, slipping out the front door of my home, eyes darting around furtively. I killed the engine and stormed up the path, anger simmering beneath my skin. Emily opened the door, her cheeks flushed. "Hey, you're home early." She feigned surprise badly. "I was just—" "Don't." I cut her off, jaw clenched. "I saw him leaving. What's going on?" Her gaze dropped, and she twisted her hands together. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Lies." I brushed past her into the house, fury propelling my every move. Yanking her phone off the nightstand, I frantically scrolled through her messages. And there it was, explicit photo after explicit photo, along with flirtatious texts mocking my oblivious self. My throat constricted as I took screenshots, preserving the evidence with shaking hands. My wife was having an affair with the neighbor, and deep down, I realized that a part of me had suspected it all along. The signs were there: Alex's evasiveness, Emily's flushed cheeks when he left our home. But I had pushed those doubts aside, not wanting to face an ugly truth. Now it was undeniable. The evidence was right there on the screen, taunting me with its crude photos and explicit messages. White-hot anger surged through my veins as I paced the living room, the walls closing in around me. Emily shuffled in, wringing her hands. "John, I'm so sorry. It just happened." I whirled on her, fury crackling in the air between us. "It just happened? Are you kidding me right now?" I shoved the phone in her face. "Look at this filth. How could you do this to me, to us?" She flinched but held her ground. "Alex understands me in a way you never could. He excites me, challenges me. With you, it's just the same boring routine day after day." The words struck like a physical blow. I gripped the edge of the sofa, nails digging into the fabric as I fought for composure. "Get out." Emily blinked. "What?" "You heard me." My voice was dangerously low. "Get your things and get the hell out of my house." To her credit, she didn't argue. With a resigned shrug, Emily disappeared upstairs and began packing. I listened to each thump of the suitcase, each zipper being tugged closed. It was really happening. My life as I knew it was crumbling. When she re-emerged, bags in hand, I was numb. Emily hovered in the doorway. "I'll be staying with Alex for now. At least he wants me around." The front door slammed, and just like that, she was gone. I'm not sure how long I sat there, motionless, letting the silence swallow me whole. Eventually, though, a fragile determination took root. I wasn't going to be the poor schmuck whose wife ran off with another man. If Emily wanted to play these games, I would make her regret it. Grabbing my phone, I pulled up an old contact, Mike from college, now a police officer in the city. Hey man, I need a favor. I sent him the photo I had of Alex and explained the situation. Mike promised to look into this shady character and get back to me. Sure enough, my phone rang a few hours later. You're not going to believe this, Mike said, but that guy's identity is fake. Real name's Thomas Rickett, wanted for nabbing an insanely valuable art piece a few months back. My gut clenched as he continued. The alert's gone out. Units are headed to your place to pick up this scumbag right now. I peered through the curtains. Alex was loading Emily's things into his car, seemingly ready to hit the road. Not if I could help it. Flinging open the door, I marched up to them both. Emily startled, clutching her purse to her chest. John? What are you doing here? Exposing your little friend for the low-life criminal he is. I jabbed a finger at Alex, who bristled. You need to mind your own business, pal, he sneered, stepping forward in a feeble attempt at intimidation. I refused to back down, squaring my shoulders. Or what? You'll steal from me too? Emily's eyes went wide. What is he talking about? Your boyfriend here has been using an alias to evade the police. I gestured toward the car. I'm guessing that cash you've been living large on isn't exactly clean. Alex lunged, but I was ready. Sidestepping his clumsy attack, I grabbed his wrist and wrenched it behind his back. He howled in pain and anger as I slammed him against the car. Get off me, you psycho. The commotion drew the neighborhood's attention. Doors creaked open, and soon a crowd was gathering, peering with unabashed curiosity at the scene unfolding on the street. You want to tell them what's really going on, Alex? I tightened my grip, earning another yelp. Or should I? Emily watched, lips parted and hands hovering at her mouth. I caught the flicker of shame in her eyes as neighbors began to whisper, gesturing toward the spectacle. Served her right. John, please. Her voice was barely audible over Alex's growls. Let him go. We'll leave. You'll never have to see us again. I shook my head firmly. I don't think so. Not until the police get here. To my smug satisfaction, their faces drained of color in unison. That's right. I called an old buddy of mine about our friend Alex here. I quirked an eyebrow at the seething conman pinned against the car. You're going away for a long, long time. On cue, a wail of sirens pierced the afternoon. Blue and red lights flickered at the end of the street as several police cruisers swung into view. The air was electric with tension. Alex thrashed against my restraining grip, spewing curses like a man possessed. You're making a huge mistake, buddy. When I get out of this, you're dead meat. I tightened my hold, ignoring his threats with a casual shrug. Keep digging that hole deeper for yourself. Emily hung back, wide eyes flickering between Alex and the rapidly approaching police vehicles. As the first cruiser skidded to a stop, an officer leapt out, hand on his holster. What's going on here? Everybody stay calm. Emily rushed forward, arms waving frantically. Officer, please. My husband has gone completely insane. He's assaulting my friend for no reason. I barked out a harsh laugh. Is that what you're calling your criminal boyfriend these days? Come on, Alex, or should I say Thomas Rickett? Why don't you tell them what kind of friend you really are? Alex's jaw clenched, and his wild gaze met mine in a brief moment of panic. But the officers were already advancing, shouting commands to get on the ground. When he didn't immediately comply, two of them rushed forward and wrestled the thrashing man into submission. Metal cuffs clinked shut around his wrists as they recited his rights. All the while, our neighbors gawked at the unfolding spectacle from their yards and porches. I could feel the weight of their scandalized stares. Emily Shaw, you're under arrest as well, one of the officers stated, grabbing her arm to swing her around. We've got a report stating you were knowingly harboring and spending the earnings of a wanted felon. What? No, she faltered as the handcuffs clicked into place. John, you can't let them do this. I stood rooted in place, unable to tear my eyes away as they escorted a protesting Emily into the back of a squad car. She stared at me through the window, a desperate plea in her gaze. But the anger, the searing betrayal, was still too fresh, too raw. I simply turned my back and walked away from the chaotic scene, ignoring her muffled shouts calling my name in the days that followed. I kept mostly to myself, leaving the house only when absolutely necessary. Seeing our once happy home and neighborhood stirred up a churning mix of emotions that made my chest feel too tight. The ring of the doorbell one afternoon jolted me from my solitary days. I frowned, not expecting any visitors, and cautiously peered through the peephole. Emily stood on the front steps, hands wringing and shoulders hunched under an oversized jacket. She jumped when I pulled the door open, her haggard appearance making me do a double take. "What are you doing here?" I folded my arms across my chest. "Johnny." Her voice trembled, eyes rimmed with dark circles. "I made a mistake, a horrible mistake. But I'm clean now, I swear. I want to make things right." She reached out, fingers grazing my arm, but I recoiled from her touch. "You're unbelievable. You know that? You cheated on me, shacked up with a criminal, got arrested, and now you just waltz back like nothing happened?" Frustration bubbled up, burning away at the hurt I'd been harboring. "Well, I've got news for you, Emily. I'm done. We're through." Her lips parted in a silent gasp, but I pressed on before she could protest. "You made your bed, and now you've got to lie in it. Maybe your felon friend can take you in again when he gets out, if he ever does." I shook my head slowly, sadly. "I'm filing for divorce. First thing tomorrow." The tears came hot and fast, streaking down Emily's blotchy cheeks. "Johnny, please no. I have nowhere to go, no money. I was in jail for weeks because of him. Don't shut me out now." As much as part of me ached to pull her close, to try and move past this nightmare, the more rational side knew it was futile. Once that trust was broken, it could never be fully repaired. "I'm sorry," I said, the words feeling hollow, "but this is goodbye." With that, I stepped back inside and shut the door, cutting off her muffled sobs. My heart constricted, but I refused to give in. She had made her choices and now faced the consequences. Over the next few months, grueling divorce proceedings played out. It was a messy, draining affair that left me questioning my faith in love and commitment more than once. But finally, after what felt like an eternity, it was official. Emily was just a figure from my past, free to forge whatever life she chose without me. And I was free from the toxicity, the betrayal that had nearly broken me. I was grateful for Mike, the friend whose quick thinking led to Alex's arrest. His actions spared me further torment at the conman's hands and allowed me to cut ties with Emily far sooner. The road to healing was long, and there were plenty of setbacks along the way. But I persisted, determined to transform the wreckage into something new, something stronger. These days, I embrace my fresh start with open arms. I've learned to appreciate the simple joys that I once took for granted. And one day, when the time is right, I hope to find someone worthy of my trust and devotion. This is where our story comes to an end. Share your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for your precious time. If you enjoyed this story, then please make sure you subscribe to this channel. That would help me a lot. Click on the video you see on the screen, and I will see you there.